Welcome back to part 2 of Inside the Mind of Genghis Khan. If you haven't already, it may be helpful to watch part 1 on our channel before starting the journey into Khan's most famous era. With the steppe unified, Genghis Khan turned outward. His first major targets were Western Xia and the Jin dynasty of northern China, states that had long interfered in Mongol affairs. Then came Central Asia and the Khwarezmian Empire. What followed was a series of campaigns that terrified the medieval world. Under Genghis Khan's leadership, the Mongol army became a mobile, highly disciplined shock force. Elite horse archers, firing powerful composite bows from a distance, functioned almost like medieval artillery. They perfected tactics such as feigned retreat, encirclement, and coordinated multi-directional attacks. They adopted Chinese siege engineers, Persian administrators, and Uyghur scribes. Genghis, though illiterate, insisted on a writing system for Mongolia, conducted censuses, and created a courier network, the Yam, that allowed messages to travel across his empire at unprecedented speed. He listened to a wide range of advisors: Chinese Confucians, Muslim merchants, steppe nobles. He was willing to adjust strategy if it worked better. In military and administrative terms, this was not the behavior of a reckless brute. It was the work of a flexible, curious strategist. And yet alongside this openness, there was extraordinary cruelty. When the Khwarezmian Shah executed Mongol envoys and merchants, Genghis interpreted it as a personal and cosmic insult. His response was annihilatory. Cities like Bukhara, Samarkand, Merv, and Neshabur were taken, and in many cases, systematically destroyed. Chroniclers recorded death tolls in the hundreds of thousands. Even allowing for exaggeration, the scale of killing was catastrophic. Here we see one of his central psychological patterns: revenge, elevated into principle. On the steppe, his code was simple: good for good, evil for evil. Mercy to those who submitted quickly, terror for those who resisted or betrayed him. When a city killed Mongol envoys or held out in siege, Genghis often ordered mass executions, leaving a handful alive to spread the story. The Mongols understood the power of fear. They were happy to feed the legends. Terror was an instrument of policy. Interpersonally, the paradox deepens. Genghis Khan could be deeply loyal and emotionally attached to those in his inner circle. He rewarded generals like Subutai, Jebe, and advisors like Yelu Chukai with immense trust and autonomy. He protected and honored his mother Holin, while relying heavily on his wife, Borte, and later his daughters-in-law, to manage domestic affairs and regional governance. Yet he also suspected disloyalty quickly and punished it decisively. Even within his family, tensions surfaced. Stories tell of fierce disputes with his eldest son Juchi over legitimacy and loyalty. Some historians say that in a moment of rage, he contemplated killing Juchi, an indication that paternal affection was always subordinate to perceived threats to control. By 1215, Genghis Khan had seized the Jin capital, Zhongdu, Beijing. By 1220, Khwarezmia lay in ruins. From the Yellow Sea to the Caspian, his banners dominated. Success seemed to confirm what he increasingly believed, that eternal heaven, Tengri, had chosen him as its instrument. Anyone refusing to recognize his supremacy became, in his mind, not just a political opponent, but an enemy of cosmic order. This sense of divine mandate gave psychological coherence to his contradictions. Mercy or massacre, tolerance or terror, all could be rationalized as serving heaven's will. Even in later life, Genghis Khan did not retire into comfort. Well into his 60s, he was still leading campaigns, this time against Western Xia, which he saw as treacherous for failing to support his wars. In 1227, during that campaign, he died, likely from illness or injuries sustained in a fall from his horse. Legends later offered more colorful explanations, but contemporary sources point to a mundane, if inconvenient, end. His followers buried him in an unknown location, and his tomb has never been found. Secrecy and death mirrored the mystery he'd cultivated in life. At his death, the empire already covered an enormous swath of Asia. He had designated his son Ogedei as Great Khan. setting a model for succession via cruelty councils. Under his sons and grandsons, the Mongol Empire would grow even further, eventually stretching from Korea to Eastern Europe, and from Siberia to the Persian Gulf. The impact was double-edged. On one side, the Mongol conquests caused profound destruction. Populations in parts of northern China, Iran, and Central Asia plummeted. Irrigation systems and cities were ruined. Entire regions spoke of the Mongols as divine punishment, a scourge of God. In Persia and the Islamic world, the memory of Genghis Khan and his successors is still tied to trauma and the end of a golden age. On the other side, by imposing a single overarching authority on so much of Eurasia, the Mongols created conditions for increased trade, travel, and cultural exchange. The Pax Mongolica allowed merchants, diplomats, missionaries, and scholars to move more freely along the Silk Roads. Technologies such as gunpowder and printing spread westward, while scientific and artistic ideas circulated in both directions. Some historians see in this an early form of globalization. Politically, his descendants founded dynasties from the Yuan in China, the Ilkhanate in Persia, all the way to the Golden Horde in Russia. Culturally, his name became a long shadow invoked as hero, villain, or something in between depending on where you stand. In the next episode, Genghis Khan's psychological analysis will examine how early trauma, adaptive survival traits, and socialization shaped one of history's most formidable leaders. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Also, let us know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see next.